Okay, what if drone submarines completely replaced crewed subs? I mean, it literally sounds like a plot pulled straight out of a sci-fi novel, right? Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're cutting right through the media hype to look at the actual, tangible hardware, the completely unyielding physics of the ocean, and the shifting geopolitical realities of autonomous undersea warfare. So here is our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the silent fleet transition, meet the drones themselves, and see exactly where they dominate. Then we'll tackle the physics and AI barriers, the very real human advantage, and finish up with a new strategic calculus.
All right, Section 1, the silent fleet transition. We are right in the middle of a total transformation in how navies project power beneath the waves, and that brings us to our core premise. Can drone submarines entirely replace crewed fleets?
Now, flashy headlines might have you believing that robot armadas are going to render human sailors obsolete by, next year. But as we'll see, the harsh reality of ocean physics makes building an autonomous drone for the deep sea vastly more complex than building one for the sky.
Moving on to Section 2, meet the drone submarines. We really need to get one thing straight. We are not talking about small robotic toys here. The sheer scale of these platforms is absolutely staggering. Consider the USA's Boeing Orca. This is a confirmed 85-ton behemoth with a 6,500 nautical mile range. Then contrast that with Russia's Rubin, Poseidon. Now this one is highly speculative, but it's reportedly a 100-ton nuclear-powered system that's designed for unlimited range. On the more experimental side, the UK Cetus program is pushing battery electric limits, while China is actively testing their own uncrewed platforms like the Haas-001. A really vital distinction to keep in mind here is the difference between confirmed transparent hardware like the Orca and the highly classified speculative data surrounding systems like the Poseidon. Section 3, where drones dominate.
Okay, so the most immediate advantage is just the sheer financial math. A crewed Virginia-class attack submarine that costs roughly $3.4 to $4 billion per hull. The Orca prototype contract, on the other hand, was just about $43 million. That is a staggering amount of cost savings. But honestly, beyond the budget, removing the life support systems, the crew quarters, the food supplies, it grants these uncrewed subs immense endurance. They can literally sit silently on the seafloor for months. They produce zero biological noise, and they completely remove the political and human risk of losing sailors in heavily contested waters.
Tactically speaking, taking the crew out of the equation opens up entirely new warfare concepts. Take the Talisman Sabre 2025 exercise, for example, where UUV Wolfpack demonstrated autonomous swarming. Here's how it worked. First, a scout drone detects a target using 720 kHz high-frequency sonar. Second, the swarm's onboard AI automatically assigns a hunter drone to pursue it. And third, the rest of the swarm adjusts their 3D routing to fill the patrol gap that was just left behind. They executed this multi-agent reinforcement learning flawlessly. No collisions and absolutely no human handholding required.
Section 4, physics and AI barriers. But, it is absolutely not all smooth sailing. The undersea domain is uniquely, incredibly hostile to automation. Seawater absorbs radio waves. That means GPS and standard satellite links, they simply do not work down there. Submarines are forced to rely on acoustic sound waves. But when we look at complex acoustic models, like bellhop ray tracing, we see that sound bounces violently off the surface and the seafloor. It creates this absolute chaos of echoes and intense signal delays, which limits data transfer to mere kilobits per second. Basically, a deep-diving UUV is operating in near total cognitive isolation.
Now, without GPS, these drones have to rely on internal sensors to guess their location. This leads to a massive technical barrier called dead reckoning drift. It's essentially the exponential accumulation of positional error. If a drone's internal navigation system loses its sonar lock on the ocean floor in deep water, those errors start piling up fast. To avoid getting completely lost, the drone either has to surface, which obviously ruins its stealth, or ping an underwater acoustic beacon, exposing its location to everyone listening. These are the exact specific edge cases that break current AI systems.
Which brings us to Section 5, the human advantage. Because of those physical barriers we just talked about, there are simply things humans still do way better. The deep ocean demands real cognitive flexibility. A human crew is absolutely essential for resolving real-time ambiguous situations and managing highly dynamic rules of engagement. Like, think about it. If a sub encounters an unexpected adversary, a human commander interprets the intent and can consciously de-escalate. An AI algorithm? It might rigidly follow a pre-programmed decision tree and accidentally trigger an international incident.
Add in complex, nuanced missions like Special Operations Forces insertion and extraction, and it becomes totally clear why admirals still inherently trust human judgment for strategic deterrence.
Section 6. A new strategic calculus.
So where does all of this actually leave us? While the research points to a very clear conclusion, we are not looking at a one-to-one drone replacement anytime soon. Instead, by 2040, naval superiority is going to rely on a hybrid fleet. Navies will use manned motherships that stay safely out of range, while they deploy highly attributable, collaborative drone swarms straight into heavily defended waters. It's a complete paradigm shift in how nations are going to project power into anti-access and area denial zones.
But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a highly provocative question to chew on. What exactly are the arms control implications when the dead hand problem applies to an autonomous drone carrying a megaton-class nuclear payload? When we look at speculative strategic weapons, like Russia's Poseidon, it really forces us to ask if a fully autonomous system can ever credibly and safely carry out a nuclear second strike. The technology is advancing so rapidly, and the fundamental rules of naval strategy are being rewritten right before our eyes. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this helped you understand the fascinating and sometimes terrifying reality beneath the surface.